A move just went down that absolutely rocked the baseball world. The Chicago White Sox didn't just make a trade, they blew up their roster, sending their biggest star packing in a deal that signals a brand new, and honestly probably painful, beginning.
But before this all happened, the guy in charge, General Manager Chris Getz, he gave us a little hint. A very clear, and looking back now, a pretty ominous signal. It was a simple quote, but man, it promised that things were about to get shaken up big time.
And then, bam, it happened. The cornerstone of the franchise, their electrifying center fielder, Luis Robert Jr., was gone, traded to the New York Mets. And look, this wasn't just another roster move. No way. This was a massive statement. It was the team officially slamming the book shut on one era and prying open the door to a really uncertain future.
Okay, so let's really get into the nitty-gritty of this trade. Because when a star player like Robert Jr. gets moved, the deal is never simple. So what did the White Sox actually get? And what did the Mets have to give up to land him?
So for the Mets, it's pretty straightforward. They get the proven star, right? A dynamic, all-star outfielder right in the middle of his prime. But for the White Sox, this is all about a bet on the future. They get back some really promising young talent, prospects, like infielder/outfielder Luisangel Acuña and a pitching prospect. But honestly, the most important piece for Chicago might be what they got rid of, Robert's entire $20 million salary. The Mets are picking up that whole tab. And that financial freedom, well, that's the real key to this whole teardown.
And that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? The question that every single fan and analyst is asking. Why on earth would you trade your best player? I mean, your most talented, most valuable guy. Why would you just let him go?
Well, to get this trade, you really have to understand the pain. This wasn't a decision that was made overnight. It was born out of years of frustration and failure, a response to a pattern that, frankly, the team just couldn't stand anymore.
It all comes down to the number 3. That's how many seasons in a row this team has been stuck in a deep, deep slump.
And we're not just talking about a few losing seasons here. Oh no, we are talking about absolute catastrophes. For each of those 3 seasons, the White Sox lost over 100 games. That's not just bad. That's a sign that the entire foundation of the team is just broken. And here's the kicker. With this trade, the very last connection to a more hopeful time is gone. Luis Robert Jr. was the last man standing from that team that made the playoffs just a few years back in 2021. So when he leaves, it signals a complete and total reset, wiping the slate clean. But here's the thing. This wasn't some act of desperation. According to the team's architect, GM Chris Getz, this was always step 1 in a very calculated master plan. This whole teardown has a purpose, to build something new, from the absolute ground up. And the entire plan, it hinges on this one key idea: financial flexibility. See, when you trade a great player who makes a lot of money, you're not just getting prospects in return. You're creating opportunity. You're basically creating the cash to go out and rebuild the entire house.
The real power of this trade is right here in this one number, $20 million. That's how much salary the White Sox cleared for this season alone. I mean, to put that into perspective, that's enough money to go sign a top-tier starting pitcher, or you could totally overhaul your bullpen with several good relief arms. It is a huge amount of money that they can now reinvest to fix a whole bunch of problems.
And you gotta love this. When the GM was asked what the point of all this pain was, he didn't hide behind a bunch of business jargon. The goal was super clear, super simple. It's about getting better players on the team so they can, actually win some ball games.
So you've got a pocket full of cash and a clear mission. Where do you even start? What does a team coming off 3 straight 100-loss seasons even begin to fix first?
Well, the shopping list is pretty specific. With Robert gone, they obviously need help in the outfield. And after years of struggling on the mound, they are desperate for both starting pitching and more reliable arms in the bullpen. The guys who close out the games. They're basically looking to fix, everything. So, when you really look at the strategy, it's a pretty clear 3-step process. First, you make the tough, painful trade to get some financial breathing room. Second, you take a hard, honest look in the mirror at all your weaknesses. And finally, step 3, you go out and aggressively use your new resources to start plugging those holes. And this isn't some plan for down the road. No, the work has already started. The second this trade was announced, you can bet the White Sox front office was on the phone, taking calls from agents, calling other teams, and putting that newfound money and roster space into play immediately.
But let's be real. Clearing the deck and having a plan is one thing. Actually pulling it off is something else entirely. This is, without a doubt, a huge gamble. Trading a sure thing for an uncertain future is a risk that could define this franchise for the next 10 years.
This timeline just puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? You can see that recent memory of success back in 2021, followed by a spectacular collapse, all leading to right now, this pivotal moment. The future is just a giant question mark, and the answer is going to depend entirely on what they do next.
So, here's the crucial thing to remember. This trade isn't the end of it. It's just the first domino to fall. Getz himself has made it clear that fans should expect more changes are coming. The team that shows up on opening day will probably look very different from the one we're looking at today. Which leaves us with this one massive, lingering question that really defines sports today. Is it better to hold on to your one bright star while the whole building crumbles around him? Or do you have to tear it all down, even your most valuable piece, for the hope, just the hope of one day building something that can truly last? The White Sox have made their choice. Now we just have to wait and see if it was the right one.